Hi guys, today's guest is my friend Oskar, and we're gonna get to know him a little bit. So you want to introduce yourself?
Awesome. Hey, everybody. It's a pleasure to be on here. It is officially my first ever podcast that I'm on.
Yay!
I've had a lot of buddies ask me and stuff, and, I will eventually do all the other ones that my buddies and my friends have been, working on. But for this one, it hits home. It's definitely special for me. And we'll dive into it a little bit more. But my name's Oskar. Last name is Buen Rostro. And a lot of people, I have different nicknames. It's, a lot of people know me by DJ Oscar B, or a lot of people know me by Oz, Oscar, Ozkar. But at the end of the day, it's more so, I think, the experience that I've had with all my friends that, connect me with them, regardless of my name. But I'm born and raised in Anaheim in 81. So I'm old school when it comes down to a lot of different things. I currently live in Long Beach, and I consider it more like South Long Beach, more of a chill area, family area. I live there with my family, my wife Lizzie, and my son Desi Luca. Desi, 6 years old, and we are going through the experience of being parents, and it's a whole nother level, which I think that it's really been a blessing at the same time, because life's hard. It's not easy as it is, right? Whether you're single or you have a family, or it's a small or large family, it's tough. And I think having the little moments with anybody in your family, in your immediate household, whether it's a significant other, or in this case my son, it really helps get through the difficult times in a day-to-day aspect of living out here in the city.
And so Desi, why do you name him Desi?
Desi. So we were going back and forth with names. We weren't going to have a child. My wife was more so considering adopting, which I think was something that we had already set our hearts on, and mainly because her and her sister come from that background. They were adopted, thankfully, by their aunt and uncle, so they were able to have a really amazing upbringing, mm-hmm. and kept together, right? Yeah. Versus having the system separate them, right? Yeah. At early age. So that was our first thing. It's like, hey, let's adopt. Perfect. No problem. We were going to go that route, and then all of a sudden something changed, and eventually she started talking about it, and names are a big thing. And, if you think about it, why did your parents, name you what, who you are, right? And it's like, it could be a really cool story, right? And our story is more so, I wanted to kind of give that to my wife, for her to be able to select and pick the name of, a little person that she created, right? That's like, in her body for so long. Yeah. She has a right to be able to call him what she wants to name him, versus, having a balance or a collaboration of like me saying, hey, it would be nice to have this name. The reason why we named him Desi was because we really like the sound of it. It's very calm, kind of balanced name. It could be female or male. Yeah. And it's very neutral, and we really like that, because I feel that it's important for somebody to be able to, regardless of the name, be able to like live up to it, right? Like fully, with their own personal character and like their strengths and stuff as they go through life. So I think for him, it was something neutral. We didn't want to name him. The only say I had in this event was like, hey, look, let's name him something that he's not going to want to like shorten the name of, right? Or change it when he's trying to be cool with people. Yeah. So we said Desi is neutral. It's perfect. And we're also big fans of I Love Lucy. So I love Desi Arnaz a lot, and for many reasons. But Desi was the first thing that came to our mind. His middle name's Luca. I love that name. I love a lot of Italian music composers with that name. So I snuck in the Luca in there, I guess, the middle name.
That's cool.
And he's got a long last name. So he's not going to be too happy with that, but he can pronounce his last name very well. So
That's awesome.
I think that is really awesome.
And then, do you see yourself in him?
I do. He's definitely a split personality of like a split image of I think combination of myself and my wife,
Uh-huh.
and I think for the best in both of us. So with me, he's very outgoing.
Yeah.
And he loves saying hello to everybody, whether it's a stranger or not. And he moves through life by impacting everybody that he meets in a small way, and I think that goes a long way because he's able to be recognized the next time he's around that person, right? And it's something about him that, like, in that little moment that captivated that person. It's like, hey, I want to learn more about you. Like, you seem really interesting, and so on. So I think for me, that's how I go about my day to day. And he hangs out with me a lot. We do a lot of guy time, a lot of guy, activities, and I kind of call him, one of the guys. So wherever I'm at, whether I'm at a show, at an event, I try to bring him along so that he's able to really vibe with everybody that I'm around. Right? Yeah. So he fits right in. I think when it comes down to pulling that part out of me, that I try to like vibe with good people and good energy, and he's around that and he picks up on that.
That is so cool. Yeah. And then do you want to, I guess, go into like your music DJing world? How you started that?
So that's a lot. It's a lot.
Or maybe like...
That's a lot. So I met Yvette back in the days. We were very, very young. And in Anaheim, actually, through one of our best friends, Eric. He goes by DJ Rockberry. But Eric brought us together, and that's how we kind of started collaborating because we were all in some sort of way in tune and connected by music, right? And I think everybody is in one shape or form, but more so with us, there was a lot of art revolving around us, different forms of art, right?
Yeah.
And I think that one thing that really stood out was the fact that, everybody that was around, I think Eric at that point, including yourself, were all just good energy, really cool, open-minded, and good people, genuine. And at that point, I had already been doing a lot. So I had already been doing a lot of DJing, a lot of, playing different instruments, but mainly percussion, right? That was like my biggest thing. It's still my big passion. But I got into music at an early age. So that's something that I do love bringing my son Desi into. And he started when he was 3 years old. That's when I started getting him into a lot of different music and instruments and stuff. But for me, I started when I was in middle school.
Okay.
So, I was a band geek for 2 years in 7th and 8th grade, and I did all of that, and it was really fun, but it was very expensive. So my mom and dad couldn't really afford, giving me the next 4 years in high school of, band.
Yeah.
So I was bummed out about it, but I kept going, and I just found a bunch of vintage instruments at like Goodwills or whatever, and just bought them, with money that I earned from DJing, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I started my passion with music. But I do a little bit of everything. I don't like to say that I'm like a master of everything, but I like to do a little bit of everything in regards to music because it's really important to me to be able to share that side in any shape or form, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of who you're with, right? And I think that, it's something that I wish more people would do that, in a way.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I was blessed by having a couple people in my family do that with me, and that's what really got me into music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that. And, obviously growing up, we had everything we needed, but we never came from like, music backgrounds where it's like, exclusive, right? Where you're like, hey, I got, trained to be, a percussionist, or I got trained to be a piano player. It's like, that sounds great and all, but it just wasn't in our cards when we were growing up. But in a collaborative like way, we did do a lot of really cool things with a lot of friends. Right?
Yes, we did.
So I think that was just to summarize it. I think that was something that was very, very, I think a big part of who we were at that moment.
Yeah.
So
I think we were really lucky to have you, that space, and how we would have like our, was it like a band off?
Yeah. Yeah.
We had so much fun. I mean, I don't know. It was like the good times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, Orange County wasn't as hip as it probably is now.
Exactly.
Right? I think the new kids in town, the new kids on the block, right? The new generation, they're doing a really great job of exploring the things that we were trying to do back then. That maybe we were kind of like not afraid of, but maybe like we didn't have the right tools to be able to express, the things that we wanted and collaborate with people, right?
Exactly.
But we did it in a good form. We used whatever resources we had, right? And
we did.
That was the fun part about it, right? Is being able to freestyle it and get through what you wanted to do. But now it's more accessible, and I think that it's awesome that it's like that. But I feel that sometimes, it's always, we always want to show everybody like the good stuff, right? Like, the positive stuff, and it's not raw,
Yeah.
It's not raw back like when, we did it, because nothing was pre-planned.
No.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like pre-staged. It wasn't like, hey, look, this is, it wasn't. Like now we're too quick to show, I think, everybody what we want them to see.
Yeah.
Only, right?
Yeah.
And earlier in this conversation, when I said this is like the first podcast that I've been on, I'm one of those people. I mean, think about it. Like, subconsciously we don't think that way, but why haven't I been on another podcast before? Could it have been because I'm trying to like not show somebody something, right? It could have been. I mean, we never know. And that's like the thing where it's like, what happened to like that, hey, let's just go with it, right?
Yeah.
Like someone asks you to do something, you go with it. You don't know where it's going to take you, right? We don't know where it's going to eventually like lead to or what other doors it's going to open. I know it sounds cheesy, but I think that's what I experience now. And I don't know if it's a possibility because I am a father.
I think so.
You know what I mean? But I try not to do that with my son. I try to kind of let him go with the flow, and like, hey, let's do it. Let's try it. Why not? Right? Versus, I think probably doing what our parents may have done with us, where it's like, oh, no, don't do that. It's something's going to go wrong, or that's not going to work, or you know what I mean? It's like before you even get to do it, because it's like it's an idea and you're trying to tell somebody your idea, and then it's like, no, I don't think you should do it. It doesn't sound like a great idea. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it's I guess it's a double-edged sword, right? It's like you try to talk to somebody about it, and sometimes they'll be real and tell you that sounds good or not. But now I'm trying to surround myself with, I guess, the same people like we used to back in the days, where it's like, just do it.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just do it?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's like, part of it is your mind obviously telling you, why would you do that? Or
well, I'm glad you decided to do it, because I feel like they need to hear your story, and then how we have that music that I guess connected us. And I mean, I think those were like the greatest times of my life. Making music, being with you guys, being creative.
Yeah.
Like the creative space was like everything. It kind of like saved my soul. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
It
does. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely rare to find groups like that, right? Where you can where you could all vibe, even though you guys have a different direction into like the things that everybody was into individually, right?
Yeah.
But we brought it all together and it worked. And no, I feel you when you said that. Like it kind of like uplifted your soul, because I mean sometimes we don't think certain things are missing, but when you do feel that, I think when it really resonance and it hits you deep down, like in your soul, it's uplifting. That's great. I'm experiencing that all over again, like full circle now.
That's so cool.
At this point in my life, in my 40s. And I never thought I would. And I never really lingered on like the old, hey, this is the old timer, because that was like what we talked about before. That was a different part of your life.
It is.
And it's like we needed to experience that so you can grow from it. And eventually, who knows if it was going to come back later, right?
Yeah.
We don't think about those things. And, that's in a way we misinterpret the word karma because we think karma like, oh, that person did something bad, it's going to come back to them. That's really not what it is. When you're looking at karma, it's like you're thinking of something and you're putting all your effort and energy into that, and it may not come around at that point, but it will eventually. Right? Because whatever you did, whether it was collectively with art, right? It doesn't have to be, in this case for us, music, right?
Right.
Look at what you're doing now.
That's true.
Did you ever think you'd be doing this?
No.
Back then? No.
Absolutely
right?
not.
So it's like, that's the thing that I'm telling you that, it kind of comes full circle, right? In a way, because it's part of, of manifesting something, right? In a way, and you're putting your effort, even if it's small, but you're putting it in little by little.
Right.
And eventually it will, flourish, right? I mean, you're watering the plant or whatever way you want to call it, and it's like, it may not come to life right away, but eventually, because of the people that you were around in those moments, really brought you back to where you're at now.
I agree with you.
In some shape or form, right? I mean,
yes, definitely. Well, I mean, for me, I feel like music and comedy have kind of saved my soul since my mom passed. And so, like, I don't know if do you know Jay Balvin?
Yes.
For me, that guy has, like, literally gave me, like, some kind of life back, where I move and I love his music and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there an artist right now in your life that you haven't met, or have you met, and, like, have they changed your life?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for me, I mean, I got to tell you one thing is, like, I live for music, and the way I say that is I'm always looking for new music.
Yeah.
Right? New music to kind of carry me through the experience that I'm going through at the moment.
Right.
So in this case, it could be a challenge, right? It could be something regarding, being a good dad, being a father.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something where it's like, going through something emotionally that I need that piece of music to kind of guide me through in a way, right? So going back to you, when you're saying it's uplifting, it's giving you life,
right?
And it's like, you're connecting with that person on a deeper level where it's like not only his voice is helping you or guiding you through, but it's the overall music, right? It's everything put together. Exactly. And it's like, it's got the right ingredients to be able to connect with you.
Right.
So for me, I don't per se have like one particular artist because I go all over the place.
Yeah.
And I like to kind of put, I think of myself as I'm going through this part of my day or this experience, whether it's positive or negative. What song do I want to put in the background? And I know it sounds funny, but like I like to kind of do it in a way where it's like, if this was a movie, because why couldn't it be a movie?
Exactly.
What you go through every single day in life is different. Exactly. Everybody goes through different things, right? Positive, negative. It's never always positive.
No.
Let's be realistic. And I have it in my mind where I play a song.
Yeah.
It's just in the back of my mind. It's like, oh, and I'm like going through the motion, and I'm like, shit. And it's, and it hits me hard.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, when I get back to the car, I'm going to play it, and I play it. And it helps me get through the different emotions of that encounter, whether it was a positive one or a negative one.
Yeah.
Whether it was with my son or my wife, whether it was with a friend or, a stranger. right? Or something at work, right? It helps me, it carries me through. But if there's one artist that I can connect with where it doesn't matter what type of experience I need to put a backup track on, it would be Interpol for me.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've never met the band,
Okay.
but I've been to a lot of their shows, and every show that I go to, there's something different happening in my life. So it goes back to what I'm saying, where I play a track from whatever one of their albums. I don't have a favorite, but I like the way that they carry their music to genuinely, without them even knowing this, it fits something that I'm going through on my daily, right? Uplifting, mellow, you know what I mean? Like kind of like sad in a way, but they have it all. You know what I mean? It's all there, and you know, I could listen to it over and over, and it's you know, in a way, it's something that brings me back balance, right? But lately, though, I've been staying away from music with vocals, and I do that on purpose now because I'm trying to do more instrumental stuff where I'm able to really see the pattern of how they wrote that song and like all the instruments, and kind of like the instruments communicating with them, you know, with each other, where they're telling a story.
Yeah.
You know, they're having that conversation. And this new, I would say this new part or new phase I'm in at the moment, I'm kind of caught between both, where it's like, I need that instrumental base where like I'm playing stuff to fit my daily soundtrack of life, but then also it's what I like to play now.
Yeah.
So I'm getting more and more into instruments that I've never been connected with before, and one of them I'll share with you guys. It's the Native American flute, and I've always had a sense of connection with it because the sound of a flute alone really brings me back to balance in different forms. So back to what you were saying with that artist, it kind of grounds you, right?
Yeah.
In a way. And it like sets you up for whatever's next, right? I mean, you probably feel that, or you probably don't realize that, but it does.
Right.
It's kind of setting you up for whatever you're going to encounter next.
Exactly.
To me, that flute sound really, really like resets whatever had happened before.
Yeah.
And it allows me to kind of see things more balanced.
That's cool.
More clarity. You know, in a way, it's almost very. It's like I could say it's a way of like meditating, I think, for me. And that brings me to my first ever purchase of a flute. It's this gentleman, his name's Alfonso, and he's out of Huntington Beach, and he's a flute maker. And he basically makes, you know, hand carved and everything, Native American flutes. So I bought my first flute from him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I've used it a little bit, but that's my new journey when it comes down to music. So jokingly, I told one of my friends, I'm like, hey, I'm going to have, like, if you ever call me, like, my voicemail is going to have me playing different flute-like sounds, right? And that's it, you know, kind of like that's the state of mind that I'm in at the moment, where it's something that's got to be a little bit more natural.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe it's like our roots? Because, I mean, we're from Mexico.
Yes.
And that kind of brings us back to, because I totally agree with like the whole, like for me, like the Native American is just so interesting. You know, how they have medicine, and then how they're grounded, and how it's all back to nature. But isn't that how life is?
Yep, it is. And if you think about it, we're living day to day with all the new capacity and the reach of technology. We're living, I think, and I feel this way personally, I don't know how everybody feels, but I notice it when I interact with people. Because in my line of work, I'm in sales, and I'm out in the field. And I'm meeting anybody from a CEO of a big corporation to, you know, somebody that just started their own business.
Right.
And the one similarity from both of those, type of for me, it would be a customer type or a person type, is we're all running at the capacity of like that, like flight response, like where we're like in danger, almost like we're stressed. You know what I mean? It's almost like we're so like anxiety's like up here, you're stressed, you're moving so quick, right? That like fight or that response where it's like our ancestors would, if you think about it, they would be probably feeling that when they were, going hunting.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, they're not just hunting little animals. I mean, think about it. Like, they're hunting big animals. You know what I mean? And if you think about it, like, that's one of the things that, to me, it hits me where it's like, well, where do we find that, like, balance?
Yeah.
Like, where? And we all talk about, like, self-care and you need to do a little bit of R&R, self-care and all. I'm like, well, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean? Like, I just took a week off vacation and I don't feel like I reset anything. I feel even worse, I think, because at the same time, I'm just taking time off from something that I have to do every day, and that's work, right? I mean, that's kind of like, I feel that we're literally like working to live.
Exactly.
And like, for me, when now I'm tapping into more of like that spiritual thing where it's like, that Native American side, right? I think the reason why I'm tapping into it now has to do with obviously the passing of my dad, because he was really connected with that. He was really connected with that like Aztec, ancestral side, and I never really like considered diving into it, but he would tell me a lot of stories, a lot of cool things from like him growing up and being around, that in his homeland, you know, and a lot of really cool things that they would find, even like on their property, like on their home, that was relics of, of our ancestors. And I think now it's like, I truly believe it's not just myself because of the day-to-day grind. I think it's like deeper. I think it's like my soul is like, kind of needing something different that cannot be fulfilled with like artists that are here now.
I totally agree with you on that part. I definitely agree with you. I feel like I know once my mom passed, there was like signs of like the 222s, the angel numbers, and then the spirituality, and then the stories she would tell me when she was alive, and then that intuition, and then it all comes back, we're buried in the ground and the nature. And so it's kind of like, it's like you said, it's like a full circle. And like when we lose those people, I feel like all material is like, it just doesn't matter. Like you want soul purpose. You want to know like what's going to heal you inside. And I feel like that's kind of where you're going with the flute and with certain things that probably help you. And like what, besides the flute, like what mental health tips can you give someone who's kind of like lost?
I mean, I felt, look, it's a blessing for me to have who I have now around me, because my dad passed away 3 years ago. And, cancer took him, and it was one of those things where it's like we knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? We knew it was going to happen. Well, how do you prepare yourself for that? I mean, there's nothing out there that can tell you, right? And it's like, I appreciate all the people that kind of told me, like, hey, guide me or whatever. But sometimes we lose like the fact that that person just needs to be around you. You're like, they just need to be around something different. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to, they don't necessarily have to like tell you the right things.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's no right words really for that stuff, right? There's just not. But for me, it's deeper. I think for me, I haven't really jammed with anybody, musically, like in regards to, getting on instruments and playing with people the way I used to love that, because I think I need to go a little deeper. So I did my first ever ceremonial drumming class, and I never realized that I needed that. Because it allowed me to come into a space that was safe,
Mm-hmm.
where you really open your heart. I mean, it goes deep into like, you don't just open your heart after, it's like you can open like, you know, your soul, where it's like you're feeling of, you know, sadness, happiness, you know, whatever it is, anger, anything, it's all being let out.
Mm-hmm.
But you're letting it out. You're allowing it to come out. It's not somebody trying to guide you through the process of like, you know, feelings, right? Or your day to day, right? Like therapy does sometimes, and you know that's great, because I feel that, you know, sometimes we do need to talk to somebody about stuff. But the ceremonial drumming aspect for me, that was an eye opening thing for me, because I've never experienced being in a vulnerable state like that.
Yeah.
Right. Where, you know, we think about it and it's like, well, you know, I'm very vulnerable at the moment, and you're with family.
Mm-hmm.
It's different when you're vulnerable and you're in a room where people are strangers and they're holding space for you to be able to feel what you need to feel and let it out.
That's awesome.
But at the same time, you're opening your heart and your soul chakras, because you're drinking cacao. And cacao is one of the most, I think, in my opinion, like it's the benefits of being able to drink cacao in a space like that really allow you to be very vulnerable, because you want to let everything out.
Yeah.
It allows you to be able to like feel very calm, right? But in a way, you know, not have to talk about it, but you're feeling it.
Yeah.
You're remembering it, the things that we don't want to remember, you know, the sad things or even the happy things in combination. But it allows you to be able to express it in the form of using the ceremonial sacred drum. So if we think about it, you know, that sacred drum rhythm is important to us, because it's the heartbeat of our ancestors, right?
Yeah.
But of your mom.
Wow.
It's the heartbeat of your mom, you know, when you're in the womb, right?
Yeah.
And if you think about it, that like, you know, rhythm, where it's like it's in everything that we do.
Yeah.
You know, it's your heartbeat right now that you're feeling in your heart, you know, and it's in music, it's everywhere. And when you connect, I think that heartbeat or that rhythm with being able to express your feelings and what you're going through in a ceremonial way like that, but you're still holding those things in a positive way,
mm-hmm.
where you're allowing to feel those things, right? And you're learning from those feelings.
Yeah.
But then you're allowing them to exit. They got to go.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've been able to do that until I did that. And that to me was not, oh, that's a one-time thing, it's healing. No, it's a journey and it's a path to understanding my deep personal fears,
mm-hmm.
you know, the grief that I'm going through, the happiness that I encounter every single day, like with my son, you know, but also the challenges that you face, you know, that I face deeply, you know, by myself as a person, you know, to be better for the people that I love, right? Where it's like, you know, you're always striving for that, right? And to me, that's a journey that I'm starting, and I feel that it's a journey that's at the same time almost like being guided by my dad.
Yeah.
You know, in a way. It's like guided by him, because I think it's something that I would have never made this step to do that if he would have passed,
mm-hmm.
if he wouldn't have passed, you know?
Yeah.
And I say that on a positive side because I have a lot of friends that are into that. They've always been into that. They've always been very in tune with, like, you know, your chakras, right? How they play a part in your day-to-day role. Musically, you know, like Aztec, you know, drumming and danzas, you know?
Yeah.
And I've never really connected with it, but now it's like, I feel like I need it.
Yeah.
But it's not me. It's not like my mind, or it's not like I need to be, I feel deep down like I'm attracted to it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do it, or I'm around it, it's where I feel the reset, the balance.
Yeah. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you have that outlet.
Yeah.
It kind of gives you like a little bit of healing. Obviously, we're never going to heal because those people gave us life, and
Yep.
you know, I miss my mom every day. So is there something that your dad like taught you, or something that you're gonna take, like obviously that you learned from him that you're just like,
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest lessons I think that I can always kind of, you know, rewind and keep repeating and replaying,
yeah,
that will help me get through a lot of the challenges that I face day to day, whether it's in parenthood or at work or just myself, you know,
yeah,
being alone, and going through my mind and thoughts and stuff is, um, the fact that no matter, you know, what you're going through at the moment, whether it's, you know, going through what he did, where he had a disease that, you know, he understood it very well, what it was going to do, right, to his body,
right,
to his mind, you know, to everything, and somehow he still managed to keep the composure and the positivity of being able to be himself. Like, his personality was always still there. He could have chose to say, well, that's it, you know,
yeah,
I'm giving up.
right,
Like, I, you know, and I think that happens to us a lot. I think, you know, I go through it a lot where there's certain things like that happen where it changes my personality, right? And
let's
that
go
affects
into I know your dad's birthday was on the 21st of
Yep.
October. That's my birthday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh.
I was doing a little research on him. I think that's awesome. And
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Libra.
He's a Libra. Yeah. And you know what's crazy is that I'm also born on the 21st, but I'm March.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm right on the cusp of Aries and Pisces. So I'm not. Everybody says, "Well, you're more Pisces or you're more Aries?" And I'm like, well, it's like it's good to be able to be a little bit of both, right? Because like, you know, this way it's like, you know, you're not, you know, targeted as like, oh, you're. I could see the character traits of like this sign or whatever it is. But yeah, I'm also 21.
Awesome.
Yeah. By the way, are you lefty or right-handed?
I'm right.
Okay, cool. So my dad and I were both left-handed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm not an Oscar Junior because he is Oscar, and I was never a junior. And his dad, my grandpa, was also Oscar. So they didn't follow that format of like, you know, Oscar the second or like, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It was just what it was. But that's just a little interesting fact there.
That's cool. Do you have a bucket list?
You know what? I should, but I do not. My wife does have a bucket list. I like to kind of be more spontaneous, and that's one of the things that I did pick up from my dad, is that, you know, he likes to live in the moment and be more spontaneous than have to pre-plan stuff, right? So bucket list for me, I mean, I don't really have like places that I want to visit or like things that I want. I don't. I'm more so as what's gonna take me to those places. Like, why am I gonna go? Like, you know, I don't want to go see what everybody else has seen. You know what I mean? I want to like go there for a purpose, right?
Oh, okay.
So like for him, the one thing I will carry from him on is that everything you do has a purpose. You do things with a purpose, right? So like I could say my bucket list, hey, it's because of this. This is my purpose, just to go there and take a picture in front of that, tourist, spot. But it's not. For our honeymoon, we did a lot of things in Europe with my wife, with Lizzie, and she was big on going to France, right? I think like probably a lot of people are, right? The Eiffel Tower and all that stuff. But more so for me, it was the interactions with the locals, the interactions with their culture there, right? That was my purpose,
That's cool.
Like, that was what I wanted to go there. I wanted to see how life is to live there from the moment you wake up, or if you wake up really early, no one's out. You know, you go out for a walk or a jog, and it's like you're experiencing something that you wouldn't otherwise see in a picture.
Yeah.
You know? And her biggest thing was like, why aren't you taking pictures? And I'm like, I am, you know, more of like mental pictures and videos that I'm experiencing how it would be to be here, surrounded by all these beautiful, obviously, you know, picturesque areas, right, and stuff like that. But I don't have a bucket list. I think for me, if anything, if you know, were to dive a little deeper on it really quick, it would probably end up being something that I would share with my son. So a bucket list with him. The things that maybe I never got to do as a child, you know, the things that I never had the opportunity to buy or to experience, that's what I'm doing and living through my son. And I think it's all about experiences, because it doesn't matter, you know, and again, it's like, that's my, you know, my purpose, you know, and it's like, you know, I'm doing it through experiences, because at the end, those are the things that, you know, you're not going to be able to donate, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, the materialistic toys and all those things, like, you know, those fulfill only a certain part of a person, and specifically like a child. And I think that for him, he's very fortunate to have both me and his mom in his life, because we're able to really fulfill a lot of those things in different ways. But I think for me, it's more experience. So my bucket list is true experiences on a day-to-day, regardless of where I'm at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's with people, right? That's with places. That could be, you know, out in nature. It could be anywhere, in any shape or form. It doesn't matter. But I think those are my bucket. I think the things that I would keep in that, it doesn't matter where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
So.
Do you have any hidden talents?
I don't think so. I mean, the only thing I would say that for me, I like to bring people together. You know, I think probably more of a guide, right? Like, I like to bring certain people together. A lot of my friends like doing that too. So I think I like surrounding myself around that.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like the hidden talent is, you know, just having good energy, you know, good spirits, right? And being able to bring people together in that same, you know, energy level, you know, where it's like everybody has their own individual, you know, thing that they like.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a way of holding space, right?
Yeah.
It's like, for me, I like to kind of do that regardless whether I'm at my house and I'm having people over, or if I'm, you know, at a restaurant or at a cafe, you know. It's things that I like to do. I don't think about doing it. I just do it naturally.
Yeah. You've always been like that,
and
though.
I think a lot of people tell me that. They go, hey, man, like, you know, we really like it when you're here, because, like, we have a different vibe where we're interacting with a lot more people. And you know, in my opinion, I'm like, well, I never go anywhere and people do that for me. They don't. But I don't expect that in return. I think that's kind of like what I bring when I'm around people. I think I like to kind of know and understand that that's probably what that would be my hidden talent in a way.
Yeah.
Where it's like a safe, balanced, you know, space, right?
Yeah.
And you know, it helps, I guess.
Do you think certain people enter your life for a reason?
Yeah, big time. Big believer in that, for sure. I think that it doesn't matter what part of your life they come into play, but I think they leave you with something, right? And it could be different things. It could be, you know, a memory or an experience, right? It could be, you know, like a lesson that they taught you, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, when we go through the emotions of life, I think that we have to we have to embrace it, whether it's sad or if it's happy, right? In this case, like, you know, when my dad passed away, my son was, you know, just beginning to like get to know him, right? And it's one of those things where, like, for me, I ask my son now, you know, hey, do you remember playing with Grandpa? You know, he was little, but my dad at that point was, you know, not able to do a lot of things that he probably would want to be doing as a grandparent. But my son was always around him in a way where he would cater to how he, I guess, his output, you know, what he was able to offer. And, you know, I asked him, I'm like, hey, what do you remember about him? And, you know, the one thing he would tell me would be, you know, I just remember he would always be, you know, really nice, and, you know, he was very welcoming, and he would say that, you know, he really loved me and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm like, okay, well, and we have this thing where it's like, I never once wanted to like shield him from the fact that he died.
Yeah.
Because I feel that that's what my mom and dad did to me with, you know, all of my family members that did pass when I was a child. And I think with him, it's like, hey, look, you know, when you were interacting with him, he was sick. You know, he was going through a lot of things. Here are the things he was going through. And, you know, you helped him get through a lot of those things because, you know, you were definitely, you know, helping him get through whatever emotions he was going through at the moment because, you know, you were so young. Here's what you were bringing to him. So he's understanding that. And with him, it's like one of the biggest things for us is, you know, whenever we look at the moon, we always say, hey, anybody that is no longer with us, they're at the moon. So like whenever we see the moon, it's like that's the one thing he remembers. It's like, you know, with Grandpa. And that's one of the things that we did tell him while he was still alive. It was like, you know, when Grandpa's no longer here, he's going to be at the moon. So you'll be able to, like, you know, visit with him by looking up at the moon. And he always trips out because you can see the moon, obviously, you know, during the day, right? It's there, right? So he always points that out, and I think that's important.
Yeah.
For me as a dad to be able to, like, you know, talk about that.
That's awesome. Let's see. Let's do some fun stuff. Let's do a segment called Would You Rather?
Yeah.
Okay, so red wine or white wine?
That's a hard one. I used to be red only, and until I met a really good friend of mine. His name's Derek, and his significant other, Brandy. They have a natural wine shop. It's a coffee and wine shop, and I was always red wine, right? Always red. And they opened up my mind and obviously expand my palate of being able to drink different colored wine, right? From all over the world. So I don't have a preference in color for wine. I think it just depends on what you're feeling for that moment and what your taste buds are into.
So would you watch a movie or read a book?
I'm crossed between both at the moment. Before, if you asked me that, I would want to watch a movie. Mm-hmm. But I think now I'm a little bit of both. I think because I'm trying to like mirror that with my son.
Yeah.
Where it's like we can watch a movie or we can read a book, but why don't we do both?
Yeah.
So like I'll eventually try to do a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, I mean, it's really hard because now I find myself reading more things, like a digital book or like online versus like an actual hard, physical book. And I think I prefer both, mm-hmm. But the ease and the access of having it readily available, I think it's nice too.
What about cooking dinner or dining out?
I used to be big on cooking dinner. At my house, my wife's a vegetarian. I'm not. My son is not. And it used to be really easy because I'm able to cook something, a vegetarian option, and then cook protein separate, mm-hmm. right? So it was easy. I used to be all about that. It was always me cooking. She wasn't, or she's not really a good cook. And she tries,
Yeah.
but I mean, I love her for that. But I would say nowadays, because of scheduling and stuff, we like to do a lot of eating out, but we're very specific with it. So it's gotta still be an option for her and
Right.
for us.
Chocolate or vanilla flavor?
Chocolate all the way. And I'm telling you, I'm getting into like the whole thing of like cacao and like native cacao, right? And I would have to say chocolate.
Live in the country or live in the city?
Country. Nowadays, I'm like, I need to get away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I when I do go to areas where it's like country or backcountry areas, like very isolated areas,
Yeah.
I feel really good with that slow pace kind of mentality and just no essence of rush, right? Like I feel like I need that. I wish I could live in a scenario like that, but my wife's gonna fight me on that. She already told me that we would have to probably be separated because she's a city girl, and I told her I don't want to live like the last part of my life in the city. I need to be somewhere where it's like that. So I'd have to say country for sure.
Do you like to stay at home or do you go out?
I like to be out. At home, we kind of build our house based on what each one of us loves, so that we can have it at home, right? The amenities, the things that we would otherwise have to go out for.
Yeah.
But I need to be out. I'm more of an outdoor person, whether it's nature or finding new places, hidden gems and stuff like that. I'm big on being out.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to incorporate my son into doing that. Even though he's got really cool things at home, it's like I'm pushing him. I'm trying to do something different, right?
Yeah.
And being out. My wife's the opposite. She likes to be home.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains all the way. I like the beach. It's very, it's very peaceful. But in a way, I think the mountains, to me, I connect more with being out. With nature in the mountains, and I feel like I can really disconnect and be away, even if it's for a few hours.
Yeah. And then museum dates or picnic dates?
That's a tough one. I mean, back when I was dating my wife, we would do both. For me, I like to combine them both. We haven't been to a museum lately because Desi was a COVID baby. He was born right before COVID. So we couldn't do anything for the first few years of his life, right? Where you can say we would take him to a museum and stuff. But I would do both. I would, definitely museum. I love that. And then why not throw in a picnic? A quick little picnic, in there, right?
Sushi or pasta?
I'm big on pasta. I don't know what it is, but a couple of my friends, even my cousins, they make fun of me and they call me Oscarini. So, Oscarini, right? And it's like, because I love Italian food. I love Italian food. So pasta for me, I mean, definitely, but in general, I would say pasta.
Okay. Travel the world or explore locally?
It would have to be both. Exploring locally is what I tend to do now every single day, whether I'm working or not. So if I'm working in a particular city that I've never explored, I like to explore. So on my break or in between meetings, I'll explore thrift stores, antiques, food, cafes, whatever. And then that's how I'm able to really do it. I don't go off of what people tell me to check out. I like to kind of do it on my own, right? To see what I'm going to hit, on that. But it would have to be explore. Traveling, I mean, it's a little harder right now with the little guy.
Yeah.
But if I could pick and choose, it would probably have to be traveling because, again, being able to be spontaneous and saying, hey, let's go check out this place and let's stay there for a day, right? Like, I love that, right? It doesn't have to always be like you getting on a plane and having to,
That's true.
Go thousands of miles to go somewhere, so.
And then shop at the grocery store or the farmer's market?
Farmer's market, to me, hit home because we would go to a lot of tianguis when we were in Mexico.
Yeah.
And that's a farmer's market.
It is.
If you think about it. And I remember that was probably the only thing I remember. Like, if I go back, like, if anybody's ever asked you, like, what do you remember from your childhood when you were, like, between 4 and let's say 6 years old.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a blur. But for me, it was the tianguis. It was the farmers markets. And it was cool because I remember seeing like all this amazing food out there, not just, fruits and vegetables, but all this different types of food. And it was always like the mom and the dad with their kids selling. And it's like that to me hit home because, they were trying to provide you with something that they worked really hard for,
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, really cool, and that stood out to me. I think that's probably like one of the things I remember from that age gap.
And then what about, do you watch scary movies or romantics?
I'm a sucker for horror movies. And you know what? My son is too. He hasn't watched a lot of the crazy ones yet.
Yeah.
But we're horror fans. Lizzie's not. My wife's not. She prefers romantic, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. The romantic ones, I think they're kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
In a way, no offense to anybody out there that loves them, but even when we were dating, I was like, no way on those. But I would say horror fans. I love scary movie, no matter what. And my son's getting into it more and more. We were killer clowns from outer space this year for Halloween, and it was really cool.
Let's see, summer or winter?
I am not like opposed to it, being in a dry, heat or hot climate.
Yeah.
I like it all. But if I had to pick and choose, I like the winter because I'm able to express myself a little bit more with what I wear.
Yeah.
With what I could wear during the winter versus the summer. The summer it's very limited, right? You can't really like do much and wear a lot of like the clothes that you have hanging in your rack. And out here, in Orange County, how often do we have a really crazy winter where you're able to like wear coats?
Yeah. No.
You can't, So, but I would say the winter for me.
Okay, and what's your favorite food?
Man, that's tough. So for me, favorite food, I'd have to say I'm a big, big, big pizza fanatic. Like I love pizza. So wherever I go, it doesn't matter where I'm at for work or whatever, I like to try pizza. And my favorite food has always been pizza since I was a little kid and I can remember. And I was 6 years old, and I have a really cool picture back in the days in Anaheim at my grandma's house. And it's the old Shakey's style pizza cups with the pizza. And I'm just going to town on pizza at that age. And Shakey's has always been a big staple for me, even though it's not like the greatest pizza. But it's always been a big staple for me because we would always go as a family. We would either bring it home or we would go there to the parlor, the pizza parlor.
Yeah.
And I think as bad as it sounds, because if you think about it, when you're working for any whether it's a company or a corporation, what's the biggest thing that, we did so good in our quarter, we're having a pizza party, right? It's always a pizza party.
Yes.
So for me, I think it's pizza because, not just because of that, but because of how I interacted with it at an early age. And it's something that I would probably want to get into where I would want to learn how to make, pizza from scratch.
Yeah.
And probably maybe do a pop-up or two. I don't know.
That'd be fun. What's your favorite drink?
My favorite drink is, I know it's going to sound dumb, but I love water. I drink water like nothing. Like I love water. It's something that I need for me no matter what. But other than water, it would probably have to be coffee. I really, really enjoy coffee. I love all sorts of coffee, but for me, my favorite drink would be a cortado with whole milk, and that's what I do when I sample new coffee shops. I'll ask for a cortado with whole milk and kind of get an idea of how dialed in they are regarding coffee and what you can expect, right? Before you start putting in all these things into a nice latte or whatnot.
What about alcoholic drink?
Alcoholic drink, I've never been into like a lot of different crazy things. But if I could say for me, alcoholic, it would probably end up being whiskey. I like whiskey a lot. Yeah.
Your favorite band?
Man, that's tough. Favorite bands are really, really tough.
Top 5.
So for me, top bands, I mean, I started really young, and one of the ones that really stood out to me was an Argentinian singer, writer, composer, no longer with us, but he goes by Gustavo Cerati. And the band that everybody knows him by is Soda Stereo. And Soda Stereo, I mean, a staple, right? Everywhere you go to Spanish rock, a club or whatever, you'd hear his songs.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it would have to be Soda Stereo and Gustavo Cerati. And then, let's say top three. Besides that, it would be Interpol and Radiohead.
Well, they're good.
And that's my top three. That's my top three go-to for a lot of different reasons. And they're always in the back of my day-to-day movie. So I have them playing in the back of my mind for different things, and that's my go-to.
Your favorite concert?
That's tough. I would have to say my first ever big concert or festival was the first year of Coachella, and it was way back in time. I mean, early 2000s, and it was with all my favorite bands. I mean, the only one that was not there was Soda Stereo and Cerati at that moment because they weren't integrating a lot of Latino artists. It was all mainstream, artists. But what was really cool at that point is it wasn't necessarily mainstream. It was more underground, and that was the first time ever that I got a chance to see one of my other favorite bands that I really love. I got to see Daft Punk. I got to see 9 Inch Nails, and that was really cool because the way that they performed was how we were talking about earlier in the conversation is very raw.
Yeah.
Right? It was very just very natural, raw. Like it wasn't like glamorous or anything like that. But all of the elements that made that event for them at that night, there was a lot of wind. There was a lot of dust from the desert, right? It kind of made for a really good presentation in regards to like it seemed like we were living in a video, right, with the music artists playing, and it wasn't curated that way. That's just the way it happened.
Yeah.
So that to me was one of my biggest ones because I was with my best friends of early childhood, and that's Tito Gilberto and his brother Lalo, and they're the ones that really got me into that type of music where it expanded my regular format of listening to music. And they were the ones that took me to it. And ever since then, we went to a few other ones after the first ones, but they're diehard. They've been there since the first one. Yeah. They go every single year, and they love it. That's their thing, right?
Yeah.
So kudos to Tito and Lalo. And by the way, they are immigrants from Jiquilpan, Michoacan. And Jiquilpan, very, very small town, but very innovative because they're considered a pueblo mágico, I guess, right? Where it's they have a lot of natural things to offer, like visitors that are coming in. But it's trippy that I'm bringing it up because they have a huge influence in a lot of the music that I listen to and that I play. And it was somebody that was not born here in the United States. Think about that. It was somebody that, probably didn't have all that music to begin with out there and never listened to it in the radios, right?
Yeah.
But somehow they, were digging for that music. They needed something different. And it's like, overall, I think full circle, it's like, that's the type of people that I like to surround myself with. The people that do listen to the day-to-day things that we go through, right? Whether it's music, television, or whatever, reading a book, all that stuff. But we're also pushing the boundaries of finding new things.
Yeah.
That otherwise back in the days people would consider like we were weird. We were the weirdos. Oh, that's kind of weird, like you listen to that, or like, oh, that's what you do, that's kind of weird. And now it's not weird.
That is so true that you're bringing that up.
Now it's not. And it's like now it's, it's probably a norm. If you think about it, people don't think twice of it, right?
Yeah.
But people do pick up on the fact that you have that capacity of being able to show them something different, something new, that otherwise their circle wouldn't be able to provide.
That is true. What about your favorite color?
Black. Black has always been my favorite color. I love it. I love it because obviously you can coordinate it with a lot of different things, right? You can accent it with different things, but black for sure. It just it's something that, not just in a morbid way, like, obviously we wear black for a funeral. Why? Why do we wear black for a funeral? Like, I've always thought about that, and I'm like, it's bad if we don't wear black for a funeral, but like when we wear black on a day to day, a lot of people always say, well, hey man, that's kind of like, you only wear black, I was caught in that kind of format of always wearing black, and then I started incorporating more colors in different ways, and I like it. I like being able to go back and forth, but if I can wear one color, it'd be black.
Me too. I like the color a lot. Do you have a favorite comedian?
I do. He's actually two, but the first one that comes to my mind is Sebastian Maniscalco or something like that.
Yeah, I know he is.
I really like that guy a lot. He's really funny, and if you think about it, he talks about his upbringing, his family. He's just talking about his family. Mm-hmm. He's talking about how it was for him to live with his mom and dad and his siblings and in an Italian family, right? Italian-American family, mm-hmm. right? And it hits home because I also like Cholo Fit Creeper Cholo Fit, and I'm blanking, Joey Quinones, and those are the two to me that stand out because Joey Quinones is the same thing. He talks about his upbringing, his family, right? Like the actual scene that his family was in, right? Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, like a lot of comedians do pick up on different aspects of cultures and they talk about everything.
Yeah.
But it's never really what they've gone through personally. And people can relate to it in a funny way, or sometimes in a sad way, or sometimes in a angry way. It just doesn't matter, but you're connecting with people, right? And being able to see Joey Quinones, I think, was really cool in person. I took my wife to it, and my wife is white, so like she obviously probably doesn't connect to him the way I do in a way, but she really thought it was awesome. It was really funny, in regards to her being in the educational channel where she sees a lot of that in her kids. You know what I mean? So it's like, in a way, they still come across to really hit different types of backgrounds, not just necessarily, Italian or Mexican, right? So those two people for me would be the ones at the moment.
I feel like when my mom passed, I honestly felt like I was never gonna laugh again. I felt so like dead. And then I started like listening to comedy, and then Alfred's comedy like saved me because, like you said, they talk about our culture, they talk about things that we go through, and then I just started laughing again, and I was just like, wow, I never thought I would laugh because you go through something so traumatic, like losing your best friend and stuff like that, but then you gotta enjoy like that I'm still living, and she wouldn't want me to just give up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And think about it. It's like, for me, when I go back to that, exactly what you just said, where it's like, well, once one thing, that comes up where you're connecting those two things together. You know what I mean? And as much as you try to remember things, you probably can't. I can't. If you ask me right now, like, there's one thing I remember where I was laughing with my dad, I can't remember it. I can't. But if I listen to somebody, trying to make you laugh, in this case, a comedian, they're going to pinpoint something in my like childhood that I've experienced, that they've also experienced, but in a way, like, it's going to come to me in a happy
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yes.
It's not going to be like
Yes.
oh man, I remember doing that with my dad, and it's like, now I'm sad. You know what I mean? So like you telling me what you said, where you're connecting with it, and you're like, I didn't think I was going to laugh again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, well, you will, and you are.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a certain person to bring that out of you.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Let's see what else. Is there anything you want to ask me?
I mean, it's been we've known each other for, I want to say, over 20 years.
Yeah.
And I know that for the first part of our friendship, we would hang out a ton. And I remember, you know, interacting with you on many different, you know, formats regarding, like, you know, you were really into music and you were singing.
I was.
You know, and you know, you would play instruments, and you know, you were very, very shy, is what I could remember. But you were singing.
I was.
So now coming full circle back to what you're doing now, where you're now in front of a camera.
I am.
And now you're the one that's like speaking. You know, you're the one that's directing and guiding the conversation. You know,
right.
What made you feel that, you know, hey, you're not even thinking of the fact that you're shy, because you're probably still a shy person.
No.
Like, you're not.
I don't think so.
So what made you get over all that and say, hey, now if you were to do things a little differently, have you ever considered of going back to probably singing again or doing something like that in music?
Yeah. I mean, I actually want to start playing bass, because I feel like that instrument I've always connected to. I just never really got the bass or started playing the bass. But I feel singing, not so much. I was shy. I think I just cared too much. I think I was younger and I cared too much what people thought. Now as a grown adult, I just don't care. I'm gonna die. Might as well do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Share people's stories that are in my life that had made an impact. Connect with people, and I feel like I'm on this journey since my mom passed, that I just feel like sharing stories like heals people.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like we've all lost somebody.
Yeah.
And we want to remember them and kind of like let their memory like live, instead of, I don't want to forget my mom. I'm pretty sure you don't want to forget your dad. So to me, like, yeah, it is kind of full circle. Like, yeah, I just want to help people. I want to build a community, and I want to share people's stories so we can heal in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Because I know we're not going to always like have life figured out, and I know like healing is a journey, but when you're with the right people, it like helps your soul, and I think this is feeding my soul.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of like not alive for a while.
Yeah.
So this is going back to like the creative part of who I am.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
It does. Yeah, it does. I think it's needed in a way where, I don't know if you thought about this, but like, even though I'm very outgoing and I like to have a lot of friends, I am a pretty reserved person. I feel, you know, there's certain things that I don't like to let people know.
Right.
Right. And it goes back to that thing when we're talking at the beginning of the conversation. It's like, we only want to show the face. We want people to see the face that we want them to see, and obviously know the things that we want them to know. Right.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're shutting off. Right. That's not good. Because I think that the people that are around us, we've never really, I mean, growing up with my mom and dad, they're like, you can't tell people like, you know, how you truly feel, because, you know, you're going to hurt people. And in my mind, and I'm like, well, that's part of life. You know, you're like, it's part of experiencing emotions and going through life. And I think about it and I'm like, well, why would they say that? You know? And it's like, well, they didn't want me, they were trying to shield me from having a bad interaction with people. Right? In this case, it could have created a fight or an argument or something, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, you're not just making that person feel bad, but it's an argument now.
Right.
And in my mind, going back to what you're saying, it's like, well, you know, at what point are we going to have and find the voice from within to be able to express how we feel, whether it's with our immediate family or with your significant other? Because there's times where, like, even in relationships, we feel like we cannot offend the other person, or we can't say something that is constructive where it's going to help that other person in a positive way, right?
Well, I personally just say how I feel.
So there you go.
But not everyone's like that.
Not everyone's like that.
But I am like that. Very vocal.
And that's good that you're like that, because, you know, whether you're a female or male, I think that it's okay for us to be able to express ourselves, you know? Mm-hmm. Whether it's we're telling someone something that is going to be hurtful because, you know, it's just something that needs to be said.
Right.
You know, or you're sharing a story where it's like, you know, something that is deeper, you know, like, you know, losing a family member. And in this case, I mean, you know, I think losing a parent is really is something else, because me being a new parent, which I still consider myself a new parent, even though I'm 6 years in, it's the things that I think my parents could have talked me through regarding the phase of exiting this life form, right? Like eventually all things are going to come to an end, mm-hmm. right? And it's like the biggest, I think, lesson for me, losing a parent and then being a dad right away, I felt fear of me passing away and him not having a dad for the first 3 years.
Wow.
And that was the hardest thing for me to overcome and say, well, I can't control those things. But what I could control is showing this little person that I'm not always going to be around, mm-hmm. right? Yeah. And that, you know, all of the things that I'm doing with him is for him to be and pick and choose the things that he's going to be able to use that I've taught him.
Yeah.
With our experiences, right? Mm-hmm. Or other people have taught him, so that he can get through the difficult times that he's going to face.
Yeah.
You know, as he gets older, and that also could be that, right? Mm-hmm. It could be that. So I think those are the things that my mom and dad left out, and I can see why they were trying to protect me from that.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's like I can't be negative about it, because that was, you know, that was our mindset, you know, of it, right? And again, going back to what we said earlier, and I'll leave you with this, it's like, how do you break that cycle? So it's up to you independently to be able to break that cycle, mm-hmm. right? And it doesn't mean like, oh, you know, this is the way, you know, I am because of generational, you know, mentality or way of thinking or whatever it is. You're your own person. I mean, you said it right now. That's why I asked you that question, where like you were shy when we met you, and you had a lot of potential. You were doing a lot of things you liked, but also you were probably holding yourself back.
I really was.
You know what I mean? And it's like, even though you were surrounded with a lot of friends that were just like, nope, we're doing it. Let's just go with it. And you did do a lot of things, you know what I mean? Out of your comfort zone. But I think that it comes full circle back around.
Yeah.
Right? It does.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm happy to see you where you're at. I'm happy to see you, you know, generating a good space where people could open up and, you know, share their story and stuff. And, you know, I'm really happy for what's to come, and te deseo mucho éxito.
Thank you.
En lo que estás haciendo, and, you know, especially everything else that you decide to do, because, hey, it's good to be able to do a lot of different things, you know, mm-hmm. because, you know, you said it, life's short.
Yeah.
You know, and we have to kind of get out of our minds and just do it.
Well, thank you for coming on the pod.
Yeah.
And any last words you want to share before we go?
You know what? Just that I feel fortunate to be the fifth one you said, and it is the first time that I officially, you know, talk about stuff, you know, out in the open. So and I feel better about it. I think that I would probably end up doing more of these.
Yay.
And I think all my buddies that asked me to do them, I think I will connect with them and start being more engaged in doing these things. And what I learned from today is the fact that what we're recording here is going to be available for generations to come, mm-hmm. right? Accessible. And I think it's something that's pretty cool, because I could say it's something that my son can come back to and
yes,
and replay. So,
well, thank you so
thank
much. All right, bye guys.
Bye.